So there you have it. John calling already Pointbreak being the favorites. I don't know if that's national pride or very, very well scouting information. Either way, we have it. We are gonna start things off here on, of course, Nepal Shrine. And this is one of the maps where you usually see a myriad of compositions or even sometimes just the same comp against each other. So what can you say about Shrine, man?
I mean, it looks like Youngblood is going to be opening with a Hammond, and a Hammond in this map is it's actually pretty strong. I mean, one of the reasons because there's a pillar in the center of the point, so you could open up, and even if you are like bronze Hammond, and which we know in this case, HNK is definitely not a bronze player. Neither of these team, both of these team are GM players and above. But my point being that if you play Hammond in this map, it's not hard to get value out of the Hammond pick. So with the Hammond, with the Doomfist, and with the Pharah, I think they will be looking for a very aggressive start. On the other side, on Pointbreak side, we have a more meta composition coming out with Sok on Pharah and Lil Rex on his signature Tracer. So yeah,
Gonna
let's take a look.
Gonna be double pharmacy, however, here for both squads. On and Haruto versus Song 2H and Legend, and already on getting the shot out. A direct hit perfectly placed onto Song, forcing Pointbreak's fire back. In the meantime, it's gonna be Youngblood trying to set up onto the point. HNK looking for a fulcrum point with that grapple, and it's gonna start things off here. Control point now activated. Gonna be Lil Rax standing here for the side of Pointbreak. Sturban already gets picked off by Infamous, staying on HNK. He's focusing onto the Mercy, almost gets the kill, but Legend getting away by the hair, by a hair right there. Really low, however, here for Youngblood right now. Pointbreak keeping control of this point, and it's gonna swing in their favor for the time being. They even get a DMEC there on to Calbun. On trying his best to do some damage though. Gets a face full of bullets there from Lil Rax. He has the pulse bomb already, and this is gonna be Pointbreak taking first capture.
From start to the end, HNK doesn't seem like he could find an opportunity to go for the power driver in. And if you're a Hammond and if you don't go for the power driver, then once again, then what difference are you to a Winston player? So I think if they want to look to make an engage, they need to make sure the power driver lands into the backline of Pointbreak, and hopefully with that, get a follow-up from Stubborn's Pharah and Anwan's Sombra. We have a switch here, however, with a Pharah and a Sombra. Instead of the Doomfist which we saw them in the first fight, used in the first fight.
Yeah, interesting note that Sturban's the one playing the far right now, so on losing all his old charge progress for the time being. Maybe a quick low roll switch, maybe the Sombra is something on plays a lot. Lil Rax though already taking down the two tanks. The mines were tossed out by HNK, but Pointbreak playing this very smart. They're not playing too much onto where the Wrecking Ball would set up. They're not really allowing him to get mines in the best spot, and as I say that, Legend gets blown up by one. But in the meantime, it's gonna be Pointbreak here with the control of the point.
And both teams now with so many ultimates, but of course, remember who is controlling the point right now. Pointbreak is controlling the point right now, so the initiative has to go to Youngblood to take the point with the ultimate, and it's not going to be that easy. Look at Lil Rex with his Pulsar and Sok 2H with his Rocket Barrage. They all have to be very careful heading into this fight.
Oh, Lesson Snow will start things off. We have a flick shot there from Lil Rax, misses the pulse bomb wildly, but it's going to be a Discord Orb now onto this Moira. McGray staying alive for the time being, and we have the EMP there from on trying to go on to Legend. The Mercy gets protected, however, by the Pharah, and Song 2H now ready with the Rocket Barrage. Gonna use the concussive shot to just boop into the fight. Privilege has been popped by Satchok for the time being. Self-destruct onto the corner will lead to any kills. No, it doesn't for the time being, but Kalbum making the space, and Youngblood getting it in the swing of things.
So Youngblood finally managing to cap the point right now. I don't think Pointbreak is that disappointed with the results, because Infamous, look at Infamous outcharge. They have the Transcendence for the next fight, and not only do they have the Transcendence, they also have a Valkyrie. And if you have two supports ultimate for a fight, you're almost guaranteed the fight win. And of course, if you look at the Youngblood's support side, Haruto and McGray, neither of them have their ultimates. So if they look for a quick fight right here, I think Pointbreak will be looking for the quick fight right here. Goes straight for the engage, it's gone at HNK, and no one dies.
HNK almost falling, and he is able to get the finds out in time. Kalbo though with the pickup onto Lil Rax. And this is looks like Pointbreak a little hesitant to fight into this, but that kill on the Sturban. My Things Transcendence has been committed. Song 2H with the Rocket Barrage Rel, but look at that APM there from Kalbo. Defense projects on point, and Sturban making it rain onto the opposing fire and the Zenyatta. Self-destruct now coming out, gets absolutely nothing. Gonna be explosion in the distance, and Youngblood holding strong, holding steadfast for the time being, and it's gonna be the belts holding here for Pointbreak so far.
So it looks the point where he's still looking to make the engage. They are always pushing on, they're always pushing in, and I'm not too sure about this choice. However, they did get the DMAC on Carbine, and Sasha will be looking to use this opportunity to push all the way in. Little Rex getting Carbine, and Stubborn with a barrage gets taken out by Sock2H floating right above him.
Yeah, Sock2H with a perfect rotate. We have the EMP now committed here by Youngblood, and HNK able to take down Infamous because of that EMP. No, almost no HP there on the Zenyatta. Sock2H is hovering around. The mines are available now for the Wrecking Ball. Gonna pop it onto the right hand side, and Youngblood close to 80%, and they get the slam there onto Legend, pile driving the Mercy back into the spawn. But now the Rocket Barge will not be in play here for Pointbreak because Calvin gets the pick off. Coalescence down from McCrae, turning the tide in the favor of Youngblood. Self-destruct there to zone Pointbreak out, and Pointbreak needs to get back onto this point really quickly.
I think Sasha will be able to touch the point at the last second, but this does not look good for
that's
them.
a hack!
Sasha doesn't have a primal. Oh,
The hack! Dude, the hack there from on. Getting it onto Satchok. Infamous honestly waiting on for Satchok to get back there, and it's not gonna work out in their favor. The Winston can't jump apparently. Like, okay, so apparently Winston loses 2 of his legs when you get sapped up. But yeah, it's gonna be Pointbreak conceding that. Youngblood with a turnaround. Fair play to them, getting the point 100 to 96.
That was such a surprising result, however, because Pointbreak did get the 99% first, and they did have an out advantage in a subsequent fight. I think poor usage of their ultimate, poor sequencing of when they use their Transcendence and their Valkyrie, and of course with a lot of stagger from Pointbreak, is going to make sure they lose an otherwise unlosable fight. And we're going to this fight, we will see Pointbreak switching up a little bit, something like Gold. This is sort of like a variation of Gold, where Lil Rex, they choose to play Lil Rex on McCree and Sock on the main. And on the other hand, we have the exact same comp coming out from Youngblood with Hammond, Stubborn on Farah, and Anuan on Sombra.
Yeah, so it looks like Youngblood there was just trying out and then on the Farah. This time looks like he is gonna work better with the Sombra. Speaking of Lil Rex, he does get a pick off onto McCrae, and it's gonna be Pointbreak keeping an eye on the point, keeping control, taking it, and they have this May here for Sock2H. So it's gonna be a great wall here on Nepal Village. Gonna seal the opening of the point with that May wall.
I do like the Mercy Mora pick, however, because it gives them so much sustain against the Goats comp that Pointbreak brings to the table. But as I say, that Sock2H gets a pick on Unknown, and that would mean that they're gonna stagger a little bit. They will have to wait for the Sombra to come all the way back, because they can't take a 5 vs 6 against a Goat comp. It just isn't possible.
So they're doing the standard thing to do against Goats, especially on Village, just go for the pokes. Sturban working on that. Rocket Barrage has it already on, wants that EMP as well. In the meantime, the ball just in play. We might see a Rugobert machine here. Go for the stamp. Oh, never mind. That's gonna be... No one saw that, but Pile Driver didn't hit anything at all there for HNK. So Youngblood now wasting a little more time. Coalescence comes out. Ice Wall in the way. Sturban with the Rocket Barrage gets vaporized by 200 energy, but now he's gonna fall to his own beam. Sock2H now popping the Blizzard. Just making a zone of ice here for the side of Pointbreak. Sturban though with the takeoff now onto Satchok. It's gonna be Youngblood now spilling the blood here of Pointbreak. The Lucia of Legend just moving around using the ice wall to try and go for the wall ride. The Moira gets hacked up, and that's gonna be Youngblood with the retake.
So anyway, looking at the outcharge right now, we have Legend with coming up to his sound barrier. In fact, he has his sound barrier already, and Lil Rex with the High Noon. But High Noon is gonna be it's gonna be a very hard ultimate to get value out of, because when you're pushing into the point, when you have no high ground, when you don't have control of the high ground, you will find that your High Noon more often than not goes, it gets no value. So HNK right now onto the high ground, gets a power driver on 4 members of the team, and now with the High Noon, but like I said, no value of the High Noon at all.
So Legendary hanging back, using the sound barrier after the EMP. Pretty smart right there, and they're able to get the kill now onto the Sombra. Pointbreak going onto the point. Coalescence comes out, but it's gonna be HNK sealing that hole with some mines. On now, gets rezzed up. This Wrecking Ball being so chaotic, but we have a Gravity Surge now from Ku. He can do a lot of damage with his beam, but McRae with a stronger beam takes down Lil Rox. And in the backline, Sturban with Rocket Barrage uncontested, giving some presence here to all the boys and girls of the Pointbreak squad. Youngblood gets another team kill.
The question is, should Sock be staying on the May? And as I say that, Sock does make the switch over to the Sombra, because while May is a decent pick in this map, I'm not too sure whether May works out that well against a Sombra, Farah, and a Hammond at the same time. I think a Sombra would be a lot better going to this fight, and of course Sock is it's a pretty it's a pretty good Sombra player, so I think this pick makes a lot more sense for Pointbreak.
But now Pointbreak at the end of the ropes, and such of they're getting hacked up, allowing the Pharah and the Sombra to actually get some free hits, get some ult charge, and even get a kill there onto Infamous. Gonna get a bounty from him for that time being. Calvin working on that self-destruct, can launch it so easily, but Rialto now falling, gonna be a trade onto the Sombra now of Sog 2H. Legend cornered, gets caught into the wall. Lyrax now being focused down. No, it's gonna be a self-destruct in the middle, will lead to any kills. No, it's not. Lyrax though does have the Deadeye. Can he use it in time? We have an EMP from the side of Youngblood, and we have the Coalescence as well. Lyrax though looking for a target. Good positioning there from McCray to hide up. Hack comes out from Sog 2H. Here comes Legend. Soundfire onto himself to try and keep the contest alive. But Pointbreak looks like they're gonna break one by one. The Sombra now the only one left. Gets taken down by Calvin, who has switched to the Tracer. Youngblood will take Nepal 2-0.
Surprisingly, Pointbreak actually losing out the first map against Youngblood, and I've got to say I'm pretty surprised at this result. But of course, we have a couple of maps to go, and perhaps we'll see Youngblood doing a lot better in the next map, or it could be maybe Pointbreak doing well in the next few maps.
So Youngblood there impressing. Really, honestly, that start a little slow there from Youngblood, but they got their bearings with the Pharah, Sombra, especially Serban being the one on the Pharah instead of on 32 hacks there for that Sombra. So welcome back, guys, to our Open Division broadcast. I'm Daks and I'm joined by JohnGalt, and we are now gonna move on to Rialto, Pointbreak's pick. And it's interesting why they pick Rialto. Maybe they don't want to. They might want to try to dissuade Youngblood from actually playing the Wrecking Ball. Maybe they have a strategy in mind, Sachok already going on that Reinhardt. So what do you think about this, John?
It is generally seen in the current meta, and of course the current meta can change. It's not fixed yet, but it's generally seen as though that Rialto is one of Hammond's worst map to play. Because if you look at the first point, it's such a big map. Your mines are easily avoided, and it's also very, very hard to find a perch to swing and hit the upper levels of this map. You can see the archers on the second floor. There is a second floor on the first point, and it's very hard for Hammond to access these areas. So it's generally, like I mentioned, it's generally seen as a bad map to play Hammond. I think Pointbreak knows this, and I think they know that they don't have a reliable counter or prep against a Hammond player, and Sachok doesn't play Hammond as well, and I think that's why they chose to play Rialto.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be Youngblood though, still forcing it out. Can HNK make do? We'll see if the Wrecking Ball can actually get some environmental kills, as Youngblood just setting up near the buildings. Here comes the Pointbreak squad, however, more or less uncontested with this first push. But on in the backline, being sneaky, being cheeky, was waiting for an opportunity to strike onto the Zenyatta. Even gets the hack out onto Legend, but an immediate shot there from Lyrax, and the fire strike from Sachok will punish this.
Beautiful play coming out from the side of Pointbreak right there. You can see the backline all splitting up, giving HNK no room to power driver anyone into the air. And if you power driver no one, then you didn't do anything at all as a Hammond. So great play there by Pointbreak. Not to take away anything from HNK, it's just great play by Pointbreak overall. And now this power driver going along a lot. This is a much better power driver. And is there a follow-up? I don't think there's any follow-up. And HNK is going to get hacked, slapped, and shot, Stormbolt by Sog 2H.
So yeah, this is gonna be Pointbreak already getting into the plaza. Sturban going for a kill punch there onto Sog 2H. Doesn't really get much, and now the Hanzo, just peeking, wants to go for the Doomfist. Here comes Sturban, however, diving in. Legend now picking off on once again, and the Sombra struggling actually in this map. HNK trying to reform the lines, will be behind the archway, but it's gonna be spotted by Lyrax so quickly. Infosight is out and about. On and now switching to the Widowmaker as well, and the sidelines here are pretty decent from spawn.
And now, of course, Infamous with a pick on Sturban, and Pointbreak doesn't seem like they're having any trouble pushing and touching the second point. They haven't yet got it, but with HNK down, it's only a matter of time. Sturban goes down as well, and Rido gets sniped by Lyrax across the map. Lyrax with a double pick, and HNK now with a return pick on Sog 2H, but is it enough? Especially when Rialto goes down, which means they have no sustain, no more.
Yeah, this is Pointbreak already just bodying their way to victory. The Wrecking Ball and the D.Va not really the best to contest against the Reinhardt and the Zarya. And alongside that, Lyrax with those shots perfectly placed has another Infosight already. Dude, I don't know if we're watching Overwatch or Call of Duty with the amount of UAVs this guy has, but Liljang can give the vision, can easily communicate with his team.
And now we see why Pointbreak, exactly why Pointbreak decided to pick this map. They know that HNK wouldn't be able to do anything as Hammond in this map. And of course HNK now switching over to a Reinhardt.
Yeah, there you are gonna be forced to do so, but they're at a disadvantage. Salto will come out, and Sachok getting charged, getting taken down. Once again, Liljang getting some free shots, takes down Calbun, but he's gonna get counterpicked here by Unknown with some help there from McRae. Sog2H though in the back line, the Hanzo out in the front, and gets an Anubis to stay alive in the face of a rocket punch. Sturban gets taken down. Look at all the assists there, onto the Ana, onto the Zenyatta, and the Hanzo here just popping off. Pointbreak moving forward.
What is going on? Is he a Hanzo? Is he a Tracer player? Because he's flanking more than some top Tracer players I've seen in GM. This is great play by Sog2H, a clutch play even, and let's hope that we see that in the POTG at the end of the match. But we will see how Youngblood will look to deal with this subsequent fight. They only have one fight left before it touches the second point. Sturban all the way to the backline, actually gets sniped by Liljang. Wow, great shot there by Liljang.
Dude, Liljang has been playing absolutely perfectly so far. We have the shatter now from Sachok, as well as Graviton search from Fu. We have a Dragon now consuming the two caught in HNA Calbun, both to die, and Liljang once again filling the kill feed with the bodies of Youngblood. This Widowmaker absolutely perfect play, gonna be the second checkpoint taken here by the Pointbreak squad.
Now Youngblood not making that many mistakes. It's just that Pointbreak is in their comfort zone right now, and their comfort zone is no Hammond. But going to third point, into this area right here, this is an area where you could actually play Hammond and play it well. So we'll see whether HNK makes the swap in the end. I don't think he will. He's going for a sneaky shadow. I think he's going to drop all the way to the back and go for the shadow play. He doesn't decide. Looks like he's decided against it. However, he's gonna hold shatter again, maybe for the next fight.
Yeah, he got caught out there by Liljang. McRae already with the Transcendence. Wants to get a shot out on the Sog2H, and I honestly believe that HK would have gone for a sneaky shatter and maybe a kamikaze play to switch out to the Wrecking Ball. They don't want to waste the shatter. It can turn the tide of this fight so easily. On and now getting the sideline and the takedown onto Liljang. And Farsight, of course, a very powerful tool in the hands of a Grandmaster player and above. In the meantime, 2 ultimates ready here for Youngblood. 2 ultimates ready here as well for the side of Pointbreak. So we'll see who can actually force one out as Sturban there takes down Legend.
Because with both teams having a Zaya and Hanzo, both teams have the capability to use a good combo to end the whole fight and push into the third point. But at where the payload, look at where the payload is right now. Where the payload is means that there will be at least 2 fights before the payload actually gets pushed to the end of the match. So even if Youngblood loses this fight here, they can be reassured to know that there is one more fight before Pointbreak gets the full push.
Liljang popping the info site once again, and I always believe he's gonna get recon assist in this fight. Harito though will pop the back reach. Transcendence comes out as well. Dragon Strike in the backline, and Sachokov will pick off HNK for the time being. Now here comes the rest. After the surge coming out from Calvin before he dies. Sachok and Sog2H now turning the tides thanks to the efforts from Legend. Going with the Transcendence. Pointbreak now moving inside the museum. HNK just trying to repeat, still has the Earth Shatter, and also Youngblood holding on to the Shatter for way too long.
It's a pretty messy fight, however, and as you say that, you say that they hold the shadow, looks like HNK decides to hold it no more, get a clean shadow on 3 members of the team, and that's gonna mean they win this fight and make Pointbreak go for a next fight to cap this point.
Yeah, so HK probably heard me. He's like, okay, fine, I'll go for the shatter, and does so. Speaking of melee weapons, though, it's gonna be on now going on to the Brigitte, and it's very solid, honestly. On third point, Rialto, very close map. Can come back from spawn pretty quickly with that shield bash, and Pointbreak squad will have to take note of all that extra armor coming the way of Youngblood.
I would say I'm really happy that there's no more Mercy on the side of Pointbreak, and finally no more Mercies and 100% of every single match. Now we get a little bit more of a variety of support heroes. Anyway, Grab gets used by Cool, followed up by Sog2H Dragon, and it's gonna ensure 2 kills right now, 6v4. It's gonna be an easy cleanup by the side of Pointbreak, and can Youngblood do anything about it? Looks like McGray will be popping his trance, hoping for anyone to stay alive, but will get charged by Sachok. And 300 damage means no Transcendence can keep you alive.
Yeah, so Ku there popping the Graviton to start things off. We have HNK going for the Suicide Shatter, but it's not gonna make it Pointbreak, solid play, solid engagement there, just tossing out that Graviton, and from then on, he applying the pressure using the numbers as advantage. And honestly, with all that support, talk about support variety, what's variety to a Graviton Surge when you're all dead?
I do like how Youngblood did make the switch, because it could have gone a lot worse. They could have maybe stayed on Hammond, try to force Hammond throughout the whole map, and get a lot less time on their clock, or get a lot more time on their clock. So that being said, I think they need to be a lot more careful of SOC 2H going into the next point. You cannot let a Hanzo go all the way to the back, try to punish the Hanzo, and in the end get massacred by the Hanzo with a nano boost. You have to keep an eye out for flags like that, because it just shouldn't happen. Of course, a great play by SOC 2H there, and we will be keeping an eye out for his Pharah play in the subsequent match. Of course, Stubborn is a great... now Stubborn's on the Hanzo, so yeah, let's see what Stubborn can do on the Hanzo.
I'll be honest, with the experience there that Youngblood had against that Hanzo, just goes to show how strong Nano Boost now is in its current state. People were sleeping on that burst 300 healing, but already with the repair pack there from Brigitte, that's 150, and it turns a fight around, honestly. So having the nano boost there, going for the clutch heal, you can just keep someone chopped up, someone you wouldn't have nano boosted back in the day when there was no healing, just putting them back into the fight. And the Ana, a very, very potent hero nowadays. It's great to see the Granny back in the meta.
Now it's Youngblood with the Goat's Calm right now, with the Lucio, Anna, and Brigitte, 3 supports and 1 DPS, and when on the Hanzo, it looks like Stubborn will be playing the Brigitte instead for the attack phase. What do you think of this comp, Daks?
Honestly, Goats is not a bad decision. There'll be a concussive shot, however, and it's McCree falling. Of all the people to fall down, it'll be the Lucio. But more or less, when the Lucio does die, he can get back into the fight. So far, still so good here for the side of Youngblood. Not really having to deal with much. Sachok though picking off Harito, and now we can see the weakness of this Goats in this first point. Just way too much pressure being applied by Sol 2H uncontested. Way too much pressure being applied by Lil Rax as well, because of the fact of how Rialto is built. When they are going to go through the straight line, you can use the bridge that Lil Rax is looking at right now to go for the rotate, and Pointbreak taking advantage of the geography.
I think Youngblood will need to make a switch, because imagine you are Brigitte, you are Stubborn, who can you hit? Yeah, sure, maybe you can punish Sachok, maybe you can even punish the Xayah player, cool. But can you do anything about the Widowmaker? Can you do anything about the Pharah? I think it might actually be better, but it looks like they will be going hard or going home. They are switching every single player out to tanks and support. This is Goat's Comp in its finest state. 3 tanks, 3 support, and nothing but healing.
And it's gonna be McRae now on fire duty. A lot of pressure here on the Zenyatta. Pretty much the only one who can actually get some hits, besides Kabun, who will have to fly up to do that. If I will honestly praise Sturban for a day if he gets a whip shot kill onto the Pharah or the Mercy, if they're like in that instance. In the meantime, speaking of instances, there's gonna be a Earth Shatter there from the side of Sachok. Song 2H with the Rocket Barrage as well after the stun. Solid follow-up there coming out from the side of Pointbreak. Gonna be the Pointbreak Plaza in capacity.
I do like the rotation all around, and there was a good engage onto Sachok. The only problem, and of course it's a massive problem, is that they failed to predict and counter the Earth Shatter. And if you fail to counter Earth Shatter, it doesn't matter how many ultimates you blow, Earth Shatter will knock everyone down flat.
So in almost every game, honestly, stuns are the 180s in any kind of fight. When you can't do anything, there's only your opponent taking control of whatever's gonna happen. Speaking of control, Graviton Surge as well from the side of Coup. Transcendence will be there in return from McRae, keeping Youngblood alive. And now we have a shatter from the side of Youngblood. It's gonna be HNK charging into the fight. It was trying to keep everyone alive, but Lil Rax falls to the hand of McRae of all people. And now the Transcendence ending. Gonna be a fire strike in the face of the Zenyatta. Sachok and Song 2H with the combo at the end, but it's way too late. Could have been good, but ended up falling flat instead.
73% of the time, and Winston left 73% of the time, if you have more ultimates than the enemy team, you tend to win, and this is at the Overwatch League level. In this case, however, with more ultimates, with the grab, with the Rocket Barrage, Pointbreak failed to make the fight, and they will be looking to fight on the second point. Yeah, they'll be looking to hold on the second point. And it looks like they will be holding in favor with a kill on the Xayah and Sock2H with a kill on McGrave. Carbon did manage to get a trade, but it looks like it won't be enough.
Oh, Legend! With that contest with the Valkyrie getting into the fight, Kudo getting booped around, and finally Youngblood getting the first point. Oh, that was very, very unfortunate, honestly. On the side of On, he was in such a bad spot after the Graviton Surge. He got a headshot there from Little Rax, as well as a ball from Infamous, taking out the Zarya from the equation. The tanks from Pointbreak had a chance to come back in, but just the boops there from the D.Va keeping Youngblood into this fight. And Calvin, Boop Lord, apparently playing this mech hero.
Going to this turn in Famous with a pick on Rialto. This is where Sacha will look to Pointbreak will look to make their engage, because this is a great place to play for goats. It's a very open place to play. And of course with sorry, not goods, but for Pointbreak, because it's a very open place to play. So with Lil Rex holding on the high ground, with Sock2H floating above the bridge, it's going to make sure that they have multiple angles and multiple crossfires they can set up upon Youngblood.
And Pointbreak taking advantage of the fact that they have the Pharah. They can just go for some free hits. Coalescence though will come out from Rialto. Sock2H looking for the Raj, doesn't get it in that time. Way too dangerous, and Satchok doesn't get saved up by Infamous. HNK though will go for the shatter, and Sock2H with the backline. Rocket Barrage gets turned around and taken down. We have Legend trying to keep everyone up and whipping up the pistol instead, gets a hammer to his name, and here comes Youngblood out for blood.
Both looking as strong as ever. Sacha with a second shatter, but it looks like they won't have enough damage. Or maybe they will.
Sacha using the shatter. Dude, he used that shatter on the Brigitte's Turban. Has gotten the rat there off Dinaga, and Sacha just going onto the payload once again. It's gonna be Youngblood retreating. Honestly, if I saw Reinhardt do that to my teammate, I would just back the hell off. I was like, I'm not gonna deal with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Stubborn is tilting. Guys, he solo shattered me, guys.
But now Youngblood will move on in. They still have the Lucius Soundbarrier in the back, and Mukray keeping everyone topped up with the shield. Satchok though with the charge this time, and he gets stunned up, almost gets taken down by Sturban. Mukray though with the final kill. Sock2H still in the sky, working on that rocket barrage, but will meet a self-destruct in the air. Will he fall? Yes, he does. Gonna be the Pharah floating on down. Well, the corpse of the Pharah instead on, and then with the pick up onto 2 as well. Is gonna charge in onto Legend, and this Zarya playing the DPS role in this GOATS comp.
Once in a while, we'll see a very rare side where both Xayah decides to use Graviton at the same time. So with both Xayah looking at finding an opportunity to go for the grab, what really matters, what really is the most relevant in that fight is your teammate's position and which cooldowns you have not yet used. It looks like Youngblood will be emerging the champion out of that Graviton fest. And heading into the next fight, we have Infamous with Transcendent and Lil Rex with Dragon Strike. So we'll see whether they can convert that to a win.
What's interesting about third point of Rialto, it's one of the maps that's indoors, but it's very different. It's very high up, and Sock2H, Rocket Barrage, Infamous coming in with the Transcendence as well, and now it's going to be HNK falling for the time being. Lirax does have the Dragon Strike available. It's going to be Youngblood now on the retreat. They don't have as much time as they would want to try and force this out, so Pointbreak holding them back for the time being, saying the museum is closed here for the side of Youngblood.
Look at Lil Rex, he has his Dragon Strike. Like I mentioned, he has his Dragon Strike, but they don't have the Xayah. Wait, looks like they're swapping around now. It looks like they will be swapping members of the GOAT comp, but it will still be GOATs, just Sock on Xayah this time. And Lil Rex still with the Dragon Strike. Will they be waiting for Sock? I don't think so. I think they'll be looking to use the Dragon Strike as fast as possible. And there we go, the Dragon Strike, fragmenting the team. They will be focusing on HRK. Can they kill HRK? No!
Oh, on huge Graviton Surge in the back, gets 4. Legend is the first blow, not even allowed to go charge up that sound barrier. And we have the rally, we have the self-destruct as well here for the side of Youngblood. Calvin gets 3. It's a team kill. Can Legend get back into the fight? Gonna wall ride his way, but won't make it. We'll see Youngblood finish the cap, and we are gonna go for another set of rounds.
That's the power of a Xayah. If you don't have a Xayah and the enemy team have a Xayah, the moment they get off a Graviton and you don't have any defensive out to do with it, that's an immediate loss in the books. So I think it was great that Sock2H decides to switch to a Xayah, but maybe it was a little bit too late. They did spend maybe a minute, 30 seconds to a minute of the fight with no Xayah, with just a D.Va, and Dragon Strike just wasn't enough of a win condition to get that win.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really think the Lucius Zarya swap was the best thing from the side of Pointbreak. I would honestly say the Pharmacy is a lot better, especially against goats. And I was saying a while ago, in Rialto, it's one of those maps where even though it's indoors, the Pharah can get away pretty safely, can just float around. It's a very high vertical limit, and the columns can protect you from any kind of projectile. And there was no real projectiles there from the side of Youngblood. This time they are gonna stick with the Goats comp once again, going for the 3-3. We'll see if they're actually gonna switch out to the Zenyatta if they see a Pharah, but it's not. There's gonna be no Pharah here for the side of Pointbreak. Gonna be a Doomfist from Sog2H.
Sog2H switching from the Pharah to Goat, from Pharah to Xayah, and now back to Doomfist.
No, he's
and of
gonna
course,
swap. He's
Xayah
gonna swap
DT. Xayah DT is gonna be Xayah on Cool. So it looks like they have multiple Xayah players on Pointbreak. Oh man, I guess they have players on many talent. Youngblood on the other hand will be playing a more traditional comp back to Goats. I do like Youngblood Goats. They look very coordinated on their Goats, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more coordination coming up from their Goats this round.
But this is the part of the map that they did struggle against the Pharah from the side of Sog. And Lil Rax on the Junkrat as well. Exactly what you need against the Goats. Just all that spam, all that damage. And look, Lil Rax already trying to choke. Put a chokehold there. Gonna be flinging Sturban into the air. And a perfect catch there from the side of Pointbreak. In the meantime, Sog2H just working on that rocket barrage. It's so quick to fill up those rocket holes with the bodies of those tanks. And look at that, Sog2H already 83% and counting. The Plaza is going to be the stopping point for this payload, and now 10 seconds remaining here for the side of Youngblood. Coalescence is going to be available here for the Moira. Can they push this in? That is the real question, waiting for the opportunity. McRae with the speed juice onto the left hand side, but Sachok has the shatter available. Will he use it here? Waiting on for the shield to be dropped, gets it onto the right hand side, puts Lucio to the floor, and it's going to be the music falling this time. Rocket barrage is available. Sog2H coming into the left hand side, gets rid of Sturban, and we have the supports now popping their ultimates. Desperation Graviton Surge from on, but it's gonna be Haruto, the only one left. The chances of Youngblood fade away with the death of the Moira.
So Sachok Earth Shatter has been winning fights again and again. I think that's the third fight in which he used his Earth Shatter to clinch an otherwise stalemated fight. So that fight looked like it was in a stalemate until Sachok hit the shadow on the Lucio, goes for the charge on the Lucio, and actually took the Lucio out of the fight. It was great play there by Sachok, and I think I think in this matchup between HNK and Sachok looks to come out on top. I think to win this match, Youngblood needs to show that Sturban and Unknown are the battle DPS. They need to show what they did on the first map in Nepal.
It's honestly this time Pointbreak waking on up, also getting rid of the Wrecking Ball in the equation. So not only have they been playing exceptionally, their map decision making has been exceptional as well. Their first point defense has been very solid, countering the Goats so easily with the Pharah, with the Junkrat, with the Widowmaker a while ago, even forcing out that Zenyatta Goats of all things. But for now, Pointbreak can't rest their laurels yet. They still have to get the attack done. They have to move around halfway to the first checkpoint.
Hello.
So while I don't want to get too much ahead of myself, I am quite curious about what either team will choose for the next map if either team lose. I'm pretty sure Youngblood will be looking for Hammond map, but enough about that. Let's take a look at what they will be choosing to play. So Genji and Macri on the side of Youngblood. I think this is a more selective pick. I think they're guessing, they're predicting that Sok will be on the Pharah, and they are right. Sok is on the Pharah, and we'll see whether Sok decides to switch out later.
It's interesting to note that Sog doesn't even have a Mercy in his arsenal. Needs a repair pack as well. Yeah, he's gonna go for the switch. No real support there coming out from the side of that Pharah. Pointbreak though can still charge into this as 5, and we will see the full Goats here for the side of Pointbreak. HNK getting a lot of damage out, but it's gonna be Sachok instead dying. Pointbreak now on the retreat. So we'll go for the soft reset. Doesn't want to waste too much time without the Reinhardt in play.
So Sok will be switching out to a D.Va, and I do like this switch from Pharah to D.Va, because if you look at the DPS on the side of Youngblood with a Macri and a Genji, they don't exactly have any projectile that's specialized to take out a Goats comp. So a fully fledged Goats comp here might actually do good for the side of Youngblood.
Graviton! A Graviton there being used up by Calbun. Transcendence used up by the defense as well, but Lirax with a takedown on HNK. Youngblood honestly looked like they were a little hesitant. They wanted to draw the fight out, but now they're getting punished for it. Rialto going for the res, gets cancelled out, and here comes Pointbreak into the fight. 2 kills going their way so far. Lirax even getting the rally, and things look absolutely die here for Youngblood. Can anyone go for the contest? No, it won't be. HNK desperation shatter at the end, but it's a little too late. Pointbreak takes the win here on Rialto.
This is one of the reasons why so many teams open with Afara on the defense in Rialto first point. Precisely because there is a possibility that the enemy open with Goats. Goats is a very strong comp in Rialto. And before that, let's look at the POTG right here by Kalban. Diva, a bomb right into the middle of Pointbreak. Actually takes out 3 characters and clinch the fight.
Yeah, there's not really much to hide on, and they did have the Brigitte and the Lucio to just move people away from the columns. So Rialto going the way of Pointbreak. So welcome back, guys. This is gonna be game number 3, and it's gonna be Temple of Anubis. So that's what I was saying, John. I expected Temple more from the side of Youngblood due to the fact of the Sombra pick, and look at that already on highlighting it. We already see a glimpse of Youngblood has to offer.
If I had to rate a top 3 map for Hammond players, or for Hammond to do well in, I think Anubis would make top 3 very, very easily. The platform, the first point, the second point is perfect for mines, and there's so many perches, so many pillars for Hammond to swing from. So not only is it great for Anuin, for his Sombra, because as you mentioned, it's Youngblood does have a great Sombra play, but I think Pointbreak is a more traditional team. I think they will stick to the Orisa. I think Sasha will stick to the Orisa. I don't think there'll be any switch here. I think they'll be committing to Orisa and the Weaver, and looks like Sok will be on the Doofus.
Yeah. So Talk to H being on the Doofus. The Doofus is actually a very good map to practice your rollouts. And if you're on the attack, you can get all the way to the sniper's perch, and vice versa. When you're on the defense, you can get back to point A pretty quickly. So speaking of the snipers, gonna be Lorax on the Widow and Infamous on the Ana, and of course we have the classic Ana corner here for Pointbreak and the hide. Infamous tuck him away as well as Legend. So this has to be a game of sightlines here for PB. If Pointbreak isn't in the line of sight of their 2 squishy supports, it's gonna be very dangerous for them. Gonna die so easily. On the other hand, we have the fast and furious 3-3 Goats composition here from Youngblood, and it's gonna be McRae leading the tempo with that Lucio.
It doesn't have a good Goats comp. It's so fast, and no matter what happens in the fight, you can be sure there will be a lot of deaths, there will be a lot of kills. And we saw with the kill on Haruto straight into the backline, and Lyrex finding the opportunity to get a pick on HNK will mean the Youngblood will have to reset in a matter of seconds.
Honestly, HNK kinda screwed up in that one. Went for the charge onto Sachok and didn't even get some damage done, at the same time leaving his team. And honestly, the Risa not really someone you want to charge. They have Fortify and they'll just laugh at your face. In the meantime, gonna be Song 2H. Wow, did you see that? Song 2H going for the suicide play. Gets the hit onto McRae. HNK trying the same thing, but so far Pointbreak holding on to this for the time being.
Sok is just being such an annoyance to the backline of Youngblood right now. But of course, as I see that, Carbon with the pick, with the punish on Sok 2H. He can do it once, he can do it twice. But Stubborn says no third time.
So Youngblood now waiting on for the rest of the team. This honestly allows Sog to get back into the fight with that Doomfist. Very quick to roll out into the fray. Coalescence is available. Harito though holding on, doesn't want to use the fade yet. Finally gets onto the right hand side. And here comes the rotate from Youngblood. They are going to take control of the second floor, getting it away from Sachok, forcing the Orisa in a bad spot. And he's going to fall to the hand of Calibun. But 2 kills going the way already off the side of Pointbreak. And Lurax here uncontested is not going to work out in anyone's favor for the attack.
And for Ghost to succeed, they need to first make sure they reach the point as a 6 member, as a 6 stack, as a team, before they start to lose members, to the onslaught that is Pointbreak. But they're not being able to manage it now. So transiting from the main entrance to the point is taking them so many deaths that they don't seem to be able to get a good fight ongoing.
They even get the stagger there on to the Diva. So Calbun just wasting a little more time there. Youngblood switching things out, gonna have a Widowmaker now from Sturban. They know they have to try and contest Lil Rax as well as Infamous, because these two heroes have been so instrumental in turning the tides. Here comes another rotate here from Youngblood. This time they're gonna go onto the second floor. A little more smart, honestly. Allows Sturban to get some space. Also allows Youngblood to keep an eye on the supports. HK going for the charge, and here comes the contest from the side of the defense.
And of course now, this is what we are talking about. As long as goats play on point, this is goat's strength. Because when you play on point, you impose a time limit on the enemy team to respond to you. They have to come to you, they have to contest the point. And if you contest the point, you will meet an angry German man with a very big hammer.
But it looks like it's gonna be the angry Russian woman with a very large amount of energy. Lil Rax though getting picked off after the end, winning out the sniper tool. So a little pride points there for Lil Rax, but honestly, it's gonna be Youngblood now charging on in. They get the shatter out onto the Diva as well because of the Zarya's high energy. And so far for Youngblood, we have a Graviton onto Infamous. They're getting the point so handily, just snowballing their way to victory. Ku dies in the catacombs, being mummified for the time being. So gonna go for the contest, gets a few little shields, but just getting chased around by the Diva. Legend though getting Transcendence and is gonna delay the inevitable. Lil Rax being topped up. Infamous falls so quickly to the Doomfist, and this is gonna be Youngblood with the capture of the point.
What really opened the fight right there was HNK Shatter on Ku. Once you demag a Diva, there's very little that a mini Diva can do, and from there it was just a straight snowball. They couldn't control any space, and Youngblood took the point really quickly. So great play there by HNK, not letting himself get outdone by such multiple shatters in Rialto. This is HNK making a play. HNK saying that, you know what, my Reinhardt, it's great, my friend. I can shatter any one of you just like how Sachok can.
And honestly, you can see that Youngblood has practice for this map. You wouldn't see them just try the same rotation over and over again, so they do have this set play, changing it up to go up on top, adjusting with the Widowmaker, but more or less the same result. Gets on the point, wins out the goats, just funnels people into the stairway and gain those kills on point A, and nothing much to say about point B. It's always what happens in 2CP. If you are gonna get staggered like that in a assault map like this, it's gonna be very bad for your defense, because you're gonna be coming out pretty late as the whole team of your opponent is already on the point.
The way I see it now is Youngblood is just like the namesake, the young, daring team that's going for new metas, new support combos, the newer, more modern kind of pick in the current meta. While Pointbreak is going for the more traditional approach, where they generally play what has been proven strong in the previous meta, in the previous patch, and they're going to continue to play it now. We see right now Youngblood with the defensive dive. They are on defense right now, but they are still going for dive. HNK on the Winston, on the Widow, and Stubborn on the Genji.
Yeah, so gonna have HNK just perched on the small corner right there, just on that window where Aladdin probably used to stay. But gonna have a dive comp on the defense. On the other hand, this might be the Lil Rax show, because he did show off his stuff in Rialto and showed off a bit as well here on Temple of Anubis. But for now, Lil Rax just scoping on in, trying to get a shot out, gets a defense matrix in return for the time being.
They will have to be really careful on Anwan. Oh, it looks like Anwan will be retreating and playing with McGree right now. So a bet of the Weasel. When you have two Weasels, both Weasels try to take space, both Weasels try to pressure the enemy team, and sometimes both Weasels seek the duels with the other Weasel.
Dude, if you are on the Ana and the Widowmaker, they can get a shot out at the same time and get the kill so easily. Speaking of an easy kill, Lil Rax takes down Rialto, and Pointbreak now on the point with a 2-man advantage. HNK though does fall. The Winston of HK rather gets shot up by Song2H, and this is gonna be the Baby D falling to a punch. Pointbreak, very quick capture right here, and the Genji of Sturban doing absolutely nothing so far, just getting some damage out, won't have the blade in the next fight whatsoever.
And now we have it, Daks. Now we have it. HNK on his signature Hammond. I've been waiting for this for one whole map. There was no Hammond in Rialto, and I like to see Hammond finally being played on Anubis. Let's get a good ball game going.
So this is my question to you, John. How many hamsters do you have at home? What is this asphyxiation with the wrecking ball? But anyway, you're right. We can see HNK now moving to something we're more comfortable, something they're pretty known to do. HNK on this wrecking bell and on the Sombra. Perfect slam and perfect shields, dude. That was so good from the Hamtaro there. Haruto though able to get the whip shot kill onto Sog2H. The Catacombs now might be the resting grounds of the squad of Pointbreak. HNK going for the rotate, and this is what's really good about the Hammond. Can get it in the fight so quickly. Another good slam, and he has the mines out and about. So terrible here for Pointbreak because it's an indoor area, and Infamous gets blown up. Self-destruct is available. We have the Nano boost posthumously coming out from the Ana onto Sachok, but this is gonna be Pointbreak losing out so handily.
That is the one of the strength of Nano Boost, because if you Nano Boost a Genji, you also have damage mitigation. So even when Stubborn got shield bashed by Lil Rex, they just didn't have enough damage to punch through 200 and what's that, 250 HP? Whichever the damage mitigation number is. I think it's 30%, but don't quote me on it. So anyway, Haruto...
We'll Google that later.
Yeah, Anu with the EMP for the next fight. They're not done yet. They still have ultimates to win the next fight and the next fight. Of course, Sacho with his famous Earth Shatter. We'll look to see whether he gets any value out of it.
Oh, EMP coming out from the pile driver. This is gonna be Youngblood pushing on in, and HNK and Calvin with another 7 kills. This is gonna be them just getting a really quick ult charge. Lilorax even getting run over. And honestly, how HNK has been playing this, absolutely perfect slams coming out from this guy, and getting the ult charge so quickly. He hits like at least 4 people with each pile driver, and his ultimate charge does go to show his skill.
And of course, HNK now with the mines. And HNK does love his mine. He goes for power driver, doesn't get anything. But that's just like a bowling pin. Bowls everyone to the side. That's a strike right there. And Steven with the Dragon Blade doesn't quite get anything. However, is chasing around Sok2H but doesn't get Sok2H. Gonna be returning back to the point. And now Sok getting An1 out of the fight.
Yeah, so it was gonna be Youngblood going for the blade, but really good boops there from Legend and good movements from the squad of Pointbreak, actually keeping them in this fight. Sog2H now picking off Haruto. Self-destruct on the point, will he 10 kills? No, it won't. Here comes the Doofus launching the Genji into the air. Slam now from HNK onto Legend, and Ku gets the D-Mech. So it's gonna be an armor pack here on the Baby Diva, just trying to stay in this fight, trying to get the Met back, but honestly, it still be the Baby Diva out of this fight for the time being. Lil Rax though does have the rally to keep the fight ongoing. Sog2H now in the air, gonna go for a spawn cap, but we have another Dragon Blade here for Sturban. Will it actually lead to some kills this time? He gets stunned up, almost gets taken down, finally falls to the hand of Sachok. Sachok though can't shield up, just going for the hammer instead. It's gonna be on with the kill. Lil Rax back into the fight. The Catacombs might be the burner downs once again here for Pointbreak, as there are mines outside waiting for them. Gonna be the Diva and the Wrecking Ball forcing PB to make a decision. But instead, On will disable the Brigitte. Ku with another kill onto HNK, and honestly Pointbreak staying in this fight thanks to the Diva. Speaking of a Diva, self-destruct coming out, won't lead to any kills, but it's gonna be Haruto now losing out on the shield. Can't protect himself against Sog2H any longer. The Doom is now going for another fight, and Haruto with the shield bash onto Infamous. Here comes Sog2H once again, launching up in the air, and Haruto gets swept away by the charge of Sachok. Shatter is cancelled there from McRae, and he gets the kill. Meteor Strike now coming out from Sog2H, but finally Pointbreak on the retreat. Oh, it's Servant rather with the Meteor Strike, gets killed onto Legend, and Pointbreak still on the retreat. Youngblood holding steadfast in that long drawn out fight.
It definitely had looked like Pointbreak had the map, had the point, and they didn't even get a single thing. And it all comes down to great DPS play from Stubborn and An1, and of course HNK playing the Shepherd Dog throughout the whole second point, playing the mines, playing the power driver, playing just so annoyingly in the face of Pointbreak.
We have a Nano boost right now. It's gonna go on to Sturban. Coalescence is tossed out, and Lirax is the first to fall. Do that thanks to that extra damage there from the Nano boost. Rod Punch so potent already on its own. When it's enemy Nano boosted out, you might even see like veins pop out from the hand there from Sturban. For now, Youngblood holding on to this. Yeah.
What I don't really get is why Sok is playing the Doomfist for attack, because Sombra has been proven time and time again to be the choice of counter against a good Hammond player. So why to do this? Or is it that they got good results from screens? Maybe they found that Doomfist was the counter for Hammond. In my opinion, however, I think Sombra is a much better counter. So I would like to see Sok make the swap soon, because if they don't do that, maybe they don't get a point. Maybe they get full health.
Yeah, but we do see another clash. On we'll go for the EMP after the pickoff here from Sog. He's gonna get hacked up. HDK with the kill on the Lurax, and Calvin takes care of Legend. Will the self-destruct, but the Wrecking Ball now just bullying of the Baby Diva. The Youngblood with the numbers advantage, and honestly, when you're on the defense and you have this numbers advantage, it should be the attack retreating off. And just to go with what John was saying, Sog2H staying on this Doomfist, I would say this is a matter of the fact that these fights just going way too long, and at the same time, it's on taking control of the map already. I feel like Pointbreak feeling that the Sombra pick won't lead to much if they can't get those health packs in unison. So Pointbreak now gonna go into the catacombs instead.
Of course, right now is the time to swap, but Sog2H will be staying on the Doomfist, and HNK all the way into the front line of Pointbreak. Once again with the power driver, Sachok in the back, but Sachok will get hammered and punched by Stubborn, taking him out of the fight once again. So Lil Rex with his left click, but what can a Tracer do against the amount of HP that the Diva, Hammond, and the Brigitte brings about to the team?
Honestly, Lorax picking up that Tracer, not really the best one. I would only say if he goes for maybe a projectile hero, or as John has been saying, we have a Sombra instead of the Tracer. Tracer used to be that end-all pick where you can just pick Tracer and just get results, but now with the Brigitte, with the Hammond, and with just all those different sources of HP, it's gonna be a struggle to play that hero. Speaking of a struggle, they finally get the kill onto Haruto after all that focus. It's gonna be now a nano boost onto Sturban. Doesn't really lead to much for the time being. It's gonna be a stick, and Calvin gets two so far. Pointbreak now disadvantage, overtime just taking away, and this might be the breaking point here for the Singaporean squad. Sachok though at his limit will go for the Primal Riches, trying his best, just a little angry about these results, but gets hacked up instead, and once again loses control of his legs. Youngblood now getting the advantage, and Sog2H, what was that? Oh, did you see that? No, like, he went for the meteor strike, but it didn't count due to the iframe, and Youngblood will take it. Gonna move on to a 2-1 score.
So what we can see here is you do see the strengths and the weaknesses, very crazy major strengths and weaknesses for the side of both teams. So it does look like from these three maps, it kind of look like Youngblood is the more potent team in the current meta, but bring them to a map where they might be uncomfortable on. He said King's Row, then he swapped to Icon Wall, then he was corrected by the team captain, back to King's Row. And I think, and of course this is just me theory crafting, I think that King's Row is a really strong map for Pointbreak, and they know it's a strong map for them because they've been playing it seasons after season, weeks after weeks. But they also know it's a map that's strong for Hammond. So what happens when you have two things you want to do? You kind of want to pick King's Row because it's a map you're strong in. But you kind of don't want to pick King's Row because you know that Hammond is being played a lot more now. So what do you think, Daks? Do you think they should have picked King's Row, or do you think they should have picked Icon Wall?
I'll be honest, John. That was McRae telling Pointbreak what the maps were in the pool, not in.
I misunderstood, dude.
Okay,
my
it's
theory
okay.
has been crushed.
It's already. Dream Crusher, Theory Crusher right here. That's what I'm for. But anyway, gonna be Pointbreak, gonna run this Orisa, and you already know the plan here. When you do have an Orisa on first point defense, you want to take that high ground and force the long journey, long rotation, instead of a pseudo clash out in front. On the other hand,
no, Youngblood, not the goats comp, the Hammond comp. And we will see Youngblood playing the goats straight to the point, as tradition dictates.
Yeah, so they're gonna force Pointbreak to actually drop on down. We do have a small little contest there coming out from Ku, but Sog is the one getting some free hits, and this is what you do with the Orisa comp. It's gonna be the Diva going up and down to go for the contest. Legend actually dropping down to Zenyatta, has so many balls, and it's gonna be them going onto the face of Legend. This Zenyatta, very heroic. He must be a real legend here from the side of Pointbreak. When was the last time you see... Dude, when was the last time you saw Zenyatta be the one to contest the point? What a guy. What an absolute
I don't
hero.
even think I've seen that before. So Legend being an absolute legend right there. So Sacho will be setting back to the high ground, and of course Carbon got his mech back, so there will be no vulnerabilities that Youngblood will be able to find in Pointbreak's defense. So same thing, straight to the hotel again and again. In practice and screens countless of time, you can see from their rotation, they will be trying to touch the point, and of course Rido getting contested right there by Carbon.
And honestly, a solid trap state there from the Junkrat as well as the Orisa. We now have the Riptire fair and balance. Will it lead to a kill? Yes, it will. HK falling, the shield completely useless against the Riptire, but gets past you. Songtage with another kill, this time onto McRae, and Spam is the name of the game. Gonna be a quick little can in there from the squad of Pointbreak. Calvin getting staggered. Will he get the mech? Oh, that was Sturban with a very clutch repair pack at the end. He's literally throws a wrench at the flying diva and repairs it up. Gonna be Pointbreak though, still keeping on to the point.
So Pointbreak showing exactly how the Orisa defense is done, with the Diva stalling the point, and if needed, the Satchel would drop as well to stall the point some more. And of course, all this while, Sock2H and Lil Rex just pinging away at your heads, just smashing you with the mines, the concussion, everything they have. And of course, Sock gets McGree, gets traded off for Infamous however, so it looks like Youngblood will be looking to reset once more.
Yeah, and Youngblood funneling in, and that's exactly what Pointbreak wants you to do. They have the Junkrat, they have the Orisa, they have the Ana. Buy grenade plus grenades plus hold equals the worst kind of vacation. It's better to just cancel your reservation in the King's Row Hotel. 4 ultimates here ready for Youngblood, however, and the sound barrier is gonna be up and about as well. So Youngblood now gonna make a phone call, gonna go on to the right hand side instead.
They do definitely have a lot of ultimates, but the question is it going to be enough? Pointbreak has everything, and Sock2H will be looking to use his Riptire soon. But before that, HNK with a fast strike will be taking out Sock2H. They will be breaking out the Transcendence, however, but will it be enough? Carbon gets a kill on Lil Rex, and looks like slowly but surely Youngblood will be taking the point.
So Youngblood now finally getting the bodies onto the floor, onto the point. Coalesce is available here for Haruto. We have a self-destruct there from Ku at the end, just a little fireworks display. But the Youngblood finally getting the pick off, and they just focus fire so heavily there onto Song2H, committing the shatter onto the poor Junkrat, and it does pay off in dividends. Youngblood finally getting the point out, but Pointbreak pretty happy with the amount of time they wasted on the side of the Thai squad.
So with Haruto having Coalescence, they can make a subsequent engage if they want to, but of course Sacho, with his famous charge, is going to charge McCree all the way to the nearest wall, and that would mean that their engage is going to be a lot. It's going to be pushed back as they wait for McCree to come back from spawn.
Yeah, Riptire now available here for Sog. Wants to use it this time, gets a trap though onto HNK, and that's gonna take down on. They have Transcendence there, and rather Coalescence from Haruto, and McRae actually gets his rest cancelled by the concussive mine. That's something you don't see too much, honestly, and very well timed and well played there from Song2H with the angle. Sturban now gets vaporized. You never want to see a fire actually enter the archway like that. He's gonna die. Youngblood getting staggered once again.
Definitely a very questionable play coming out by Sturban there. Anyway, but this is the Arch. The countless of teams throughout the last 2 years have spilled their blood at this Arch because the payload in between the walls of these two arches makes a very tight choke point that is so good for the opposing team.
Double shatters come out, and Lirax will take advantage. Gets 3 for the time being. Pointbreak gonna move on in, and Calvin gets a headshot to his name. Solid play there from Pointbreak, and Lirax, cool, calm, and collected, gets 4.
If both Reinhardt gets a great shatter, the second shatter almost always wins, because that's the counter shatter. That's the shatter in which your teammates get to wake up first and deal the counter damage onto the currently stunned team. So Lil Rex with a pick on Haruto will get rest by McGree, however, and that's the power of the Mercy pick that Youngblood has, and Pointbreak doesn't.
And Sacha, way too deep, gets picked up. Coalescence is popped by the squad of Youngblood, but Ku will keep everyone in place with the Graviton Surge. Songtage using the opportunity to get his ult back, but he's gonna get vaporized instead by On. And finally, Pointbreak has to retreat out, but not out of this fight yet. So far so good for both sides, and McRae playing the Battle of Mercy, very dangerous, but able to stay alive for the time being. So Youngblood now.
With just 1 minute left, Youngblood can't make any more mistakes. This might be the last fight. This might be the second last fight, but whatever the case, they don't have much room for error. So Sacha with another shatter, not gonna get much this time, however.
Oh No, but it's gonna be an explosive fest here from the side of Youngblood. They pop the Rocket Barrage as well as the Selfless Shock. It only leads to one kill, and Sternbird, all of us falling, finally hovers over the homes here, just like Peter Pan. But maybe losing all the pixie dust there, gets taken down by Song2H. Pointbreak waiting on for the payload to reach nearby to the second checkpoint. Just go for the chokehold point. And Pointbreak just waiting on for the opportunity to move on in. Once again, they have Lucio speed boost. It's gonna be onto the Zarya first of on, but Song2H now in a pretty bad spot. Gets focused down, gets taken down there by Calvin. Haruto popping the Coalescence, but HNK gets traded out. Youngblood still in this fight, and we have the Graviton Surge here from the side of Ku. And the Dragon will go on to Onon, but he will stay alive for the time being. Gets a kill onto his counterpart, but Sakchuk is there to go for the revenge. McGray flies up into the sky, finally getting first class after that res. Youngblood on this payload, just keeping it up, and we have a Graviton Surge from the side of Youngblood to turn things around. Pointbreak taking way too long in that fight.
This does not look good for Pointbreak because they're so close. Pointbreak, I think they could smell the possibility of having a full hole by the second point, but alas, it was not to be, and they will get the push into the third point. And now Pointbreak must be thinking, maybe, just maybe, Youngblood might threaten the full push. Lirex will pick on Haruto, and Haruto, of course, getting rest out by McGray. We'll make sure that he's back in the fight. This is still a 6v6, so this is still a very, very even fight. That's a power mercy of Diva Bomb all the way to the backline. It's not gonna quite get anything. And Sacho gets mana boost with the Shadow, actually gets the Reinhardt.
So we have that visual bug there, but the Reinhardt getting back up, getting back down. Speaking of getting down, gonna be Sachok forced to back off thanks to the coalescence there from Haruto. Both squads at a war of attrition so far, but finally, slowly but surely, it's Pointbreak giving space. Song2H so able to get a kill, gets vaporized instead by Onon. Right click toss straight into the doorway, and it's gonna be Youngblood now moving on in with HK back in the fight. Stubborn though is ready with the Rocket Barrage, gonna be coming in from the backline. Legend can respond with the Sound Barrier, can just drop the hottest mixtape of the century in this one. We have a Graviton Surge right now. In the meantime, Stubborn Rocket Barrage! Oh, what was that Rocket Barrage? Okay, Pointbreak though gonna go for the push in once again with the Sound Barrier. And Youngblood, that was a slightly choke. That was a pretty heavy choke there from Sturban. McRae just trying to stay alive. Valkyrie up, gets a bubble, but now the Mercy on his last wings. Gets a sleep dart, and like every bug, gets swatted there by the Grandma and the Widowmaker.
Oh, I had to mute my mic there because I couldn't stop laughing. So what happened there, for those who missed the action, was that they got a grab down. They got Youngblood got the grab down, and of course, when you have a grab, you want to follow it up with damage, right? And they have the best form of damage in the form of a Rocket Barrage. A Rocket Barrage does like 1,000 over damage per I don't know, per second or something. It's more than enough damage to kill everyone. Yeah, bazillion damage, more than enough damage to kill everyone in the grab. But what happened was he used his boost, went all the way to the rooftop, he used his Rocket Barrage, and he hit what was it, pipes or something?
It looks like he was still inside, so it was just like, I honestly wanted to laugh too, but you know, you gotta keep the show going, and and Sturban giving us a show, to say the least. Good on him, but not so good for his team. So they're not gonna be able to get the full cap in King's Row. Just, you know, increasing the chances here of Pointbreak to try this one out. No, oh yeah. If Pointbreak wins this, we are going to go on to map 5. And like I said, this has been an absolute series between the Thai and the Singaporean squads.
So one interesting thing is that they have the team that had picked the map ended up winning the map. So if it goes by this pattern, Youngblood is going to be the one picking this map for the next map, and they're going to be winning this one 3-2. Of course, if it follows the pattern. But regardless, we will be seeing HNK on Hamtaro, his popular character of choice.
Yeah, well, I just want to say something, John. Like, you're correct. That is true. So far, we have been a whoever picks a map wins the game, that kind of thing. That does entail that the fact is, before you get the win, you have to lose the first one. And
that's true.
I don't think anyone wants that so far. There's all this 50-50 stuff. Youngblood might want to try to get rid of that statistic here from our statsman JohnGalt. Everything along. He's not only contenders coach, not only caster, but statsman as well. What a guy, this guy. But anyway, enough about John. Let's go into the fight. On going for the hack there onto the Winston. Doesn't get it. Song instead getting the hack out onto the Doofus. And Pointbreak Looks like they're just gonna get this point so easily. Not much to say.
Looks like HNK. Looks like Hammond's not working out this time. Not getting much value out of any power driver. He was just waiting for Stubborn to go in, and with Stubborn waiting for HNK waiting for Stubborn, nothing quite got done. So HNK will be switching over to the Reinhardt. Perhaps he feels more comfortable with the Reinhardt holding the Arch here. A very powerful corner to hold, as we see from the previous fight.
Yeah, and Sachok there taking care of that Sombra. We do see Haruto going for the res, and I was only say Sog2H just having the perfect half as well. Just getting it onto Sturban, not allowing the Doomfist to cause some chaos, and it allowed Pointbreak to just move on in instead. We have a pulse bomb now coming up here for Lil Rax. He gets the kill onto McRae. Will he toss it onto the sleeping Rialto? We'll just wake him up instead. Calvin with a pickoff now onto the Winston, and it is gonna be an uncontested archway here for the side of Pointbreak for the time being. In the meantime, find books and bullets there from Lil Rax. Get rid of HNK. Pointbreak now rounding the corner, wanting a pint, and Pointbreak just pushing on in the streets of Kings Row.
And of course, with HNK down, they will have to let the payload move forward to the second point. They have to wait for HNK. They have to wait for HNK to come back. And Sok in the backline, trying to get that sweet Sombra out, that sweet EMP. He's so close to it, 90%, but it looks like Al-On will be getting the EMP first, but Sok the kill.
Yeah, it was perfect reaction there from Pointbreak. The EMP was used up, but the positioning there from the side of Pointbreak well enough to actually stay on alive against Turban. Now Sachok will use the EMP coming out from Sog to just push on in with the nano boost and just guaranteed damage here with the Tesla cannon. Pointbreak just bullying McRae. The Brigitte getting staggered. Honestly, Payload not really the best map to go for system staggers because they can delay your progress, but at the same time, so far so good here. Pointbreak will get the second checkpoint more or less uncontested.
And Sachok with his primal rage so ready to push some people out of the map. There is 3 corners here, I believe, 3 areas where I could push someone off the map. And we'll see whether he actually get that primal rage that he really wants. But on the other side, HNK with the Shadow, and there will be nothing that can stop this Shadow except for Bubble. And as we know, when you're fighting a Ryan, that's very, very easy. So, oh wow!
No Graviton gets
eaten by Ku.
A quick little Pac-Man, and here comes the power pellet. Ku gets to Onondo. Will take care of Sog, but it's gonna be Pointbreak now diving on in. An absolute kick here from the side of Pointbreak. Lil Rax playing his Tracer, getting 2 so far, and Pointbreak just inches away from victory, 10 meters, and oncoming for that game 5. Can Sturban get back into the fight? No, it's gonna be Calvin switching over to the Wrecking Ball. Oh, C9! Way too late there from Youngblood. Good boop there coming out from Pointbreak from the Winston and the Lucio, and it just wasn't Youngblood's day to actually get onto the payload.
Luckily, it looks like John, the stat man, actually got the stat going on, and it's gonna be a map 5 where it will be Youngblood's choice, and I'm very interested to see what Youngblood choice on map will be, because what map is there left in the pool, Daks?
I think it will be Lijiang Tower. I'm not so sure, but I know it's gonna be a control map. I think it's gonna be
as well. It wasn't as much as a storm as the score would suggest, so yeah.
Yeah, it was a 3-0 there from Fortuna against Pointbreak. So this time, Pointbreak putting up a hell of a fight. And then we had the Lynx and... what was that? Kicks. Lynx versus Kicks. That was a 3-1, I believe. So this time, we're already at the 8:30 mark and we're still not done with the first series. So this is pretty good that the first series is the one that goes long. I wouldn't complain if the second series goes short, but I would appreciate a 5-game series as well later on, again with ISG versus OZO. So anyway, but enough of that, we are gonna move on now to Lijiang Tower. Let's get started with our game. So John, what do you think about the lineups?
There we go, HNK with the Hammond, and of course An with the Sombra and Stubborn on the far. I do like this matchup. I do like this composition of pick coming out on the side of Youngblood. On the other side, a Lil Rex on the Brigitte is gonna get knocked down along with Infamous by HNK. Bye-bye!
Oh, lots of environmentals, so Youngblood gonna take that. I'm a little salty I missed that because I was on Sog. I thought he was the one who getting environmentals, but HNK going for the suicide swing, gets to, does have to die at the end, but that's gonna work in favor of Youngblood, of course. 2 is better than 1, as well as the Wrecking Ball getting back in the fight really quickly. So Youngblood now holding on to the point, getting the first capture.
So now HNK and Carbon not both playing on the point, both trying to start it out. They can just watch the point pick up. There's no need to make any risky play. HNK now spinning around the point. And of course, going straight into the backline with the power driver. Sock's gonna get a kill on Stubborn, however, and Ant1 getting Infamous.
Sog now with the pickoff onto the Farm Mercy squad. Carbon getting DMAC as well, and this time Pointbreak playing to their strengths, letting the Pharah get those hits out. Gonna be McCray. Oh, what? Oh no, at the backline. We'll go for the EMP, translocates out, and I believe that EMP there just to get rid of the mech on the side of Ku. Oh, interesting.
And now HNK with the mines. Of course, HNK on mines is a very, very dangerous hamster. So point is switch pretty fast, and they only got 29%, so they will be hoping to make a quick swap.
Oh, Legend
right
falls
here.
down. Legend falling down there, not really to the hand of Volna, just fell down on his own because the Brigitte was the one who got hacked up instead. Sachok gets blown up as he jumps on in. There'll be Pointbreak trying to contest with Ku this time. Double self-destructs come on out. No, it's gonna be Ku saving his instead. HNK with the kill. And for now, Youngblood with the flip, HNK just going crazy with this.
I just love all these seesawing in a comment. That's the best kind of compliment from both teams. 19% switches over to the other side, switches over to the other side again, taking up to the first 50% now. So Youngblood will be the first team that will get 50% on the COP control point. It looks like they will be making a quick engage. Will HNK be engaging? Nope, they will be waiting for Pointbreak to push their point before making a clash.
Waiting on for that rally to end as well. So Alnon tried to go for the hack, did get the Pharah. But speaking of the Pharah, Rocket Barrage in the backline gets the kill onto McRae, and now we have a nano boost. This time though, Sturban returning the favor will get picked off by Sachok. Pointbreak now onto the point, mines everywhere. Self-destruct coming into the left-hand side. Gets rid of all those mines. Haruto getting the res back onto the Moira. So it's gonna be double duty supports here for the Youngblood squad. But an EMP now from the side of on. They're gonna be on the prowl, and Sog will be the first to fall in this fight. Sachok going for the punches, has ended the primal rage. It's gonna be Infamous though, staying alive, gets rid of McRae. Pointbreak now gonna push in onto the point this time. Youngblood still with control, but slowly but surely losing numbers. Can they force the 99 out? Sturban will take a dip instead of Bond.
This is where I have to criticize both teams, because I think something that both teams can work on is ultimate discipline. So both teams have been looking to lose a couple of fights, but when they're losing the fight, they're not losing the fight gracefully, instead using ultimates to try to turn the tide on the fight, and this is a no-no in the higher tier matchup. Anyway, Ant1 flanking all the way to the back. I think he's trying to get a hack. He does get a hack on Ku, however. We'll see whether they get the follow-up. And here's the power driver from HRK right on top of the Diva.
Yeah, Scalban here holding on to the self-destruct, but here comes the squad of Pointbreak onto the Diva. Youngblood though getting advantage already. Sturban with Su so far in the back line. Bubble is put up, and Calvin taking a dip instead. Gonna be a quick little bomb there, doesn't really do much. And now Coalescence comes out from McRae on and will combo this up, as well as Sturban. He gets to Youngblood in control, trying to go for the point, but McRae has fallen. Infamous hops on in, gets blown up so quickly. Valkyrie now being popped, and it's gonna be both sides filled with tanks here. Look at this, Sachok tried to hide by design, but will fall instead. Song 2H the only one getting killed for Pointbreak squad. Youngblood gaining the flip. Can Pointbreak get back into the fight? Will someone make it? Ku dashes on in, gets a repair pack as well from Lil Rax, and the shield bash across the river. Lil Rax playing skipping stones for the time being, finally gets scolded by the school teacher McRae. Youngblood with control, and Infamous will go for the nano boost onto Song 2H this time. He has the rocket barrage, and he gets rid of HNK and Calvin, as well as Sturban. 3 kills going the way of the Pharah. Pointbreak not out of this fight yet. The Mercy getting blown up, but only gets one direct hit, and this time Song 2H gets a hack up. Can Youngblood get back onto the point this time? HNK gonna go roll in. Haruto sacrifices his life to go for the contest, and this time the overtime going the way of Pointbreak. HNK back in the fight, going for the standard roll around, spin your head right hard, and Sturban rocket barrage comes out, gets rid of Infamous. But HNK does have the mines, gets rid of the sudden section, but Ku will take him down. It's gonna be Calvin, the only one left, gets the mech, and self-destruct coming out onto the spawn of Youngblood, gets rid of Haruto on the only one left for the time being on the side of Youngblood, hiding in the mines, gets blown up instead, but we still have a contest. It's gonna be McRae this time, fading on in. Coalescence comes out, and Youngblood still, after so long, the contest is still here, and he gets rid of Lil Rax for the time being. Legend being focused on, Bio-Orb will be so deadly inside, and it's a Mercy, 1 HP, gets taken down. The Moira playing a DPS role for the time being. Haruto gets rid of Infamous, and Youngblood is doing it, getting it back in the fight. Song gonna be the only one left, as well as Sachok, but Sachok dies to the Bio-Orb. Rocket Rush from Song to H, gets rid of one. Sturban going for the peak. We still have a contest. This fight is not over yet, and he gets the stick on Haruto for somehow reason. He gets taken down by On, and finally, Youngblood take it.
So that must have been really tiring to cast, but I swear, if I was a betting man, because I would have lost a lot of money. That fight was unpredictable from the start to the end. There was no way anyone could have been able to know that Stubborn would have even brought the fight back, or that Sok would have got 4 kills, or that the point would have switched back and forth until it ended back into the hands of Youngblood. I would have thought Youngblood would have kept the point after the first 99%, but it looked like, yeah, it definitely looked like both teams have great DPS player, but definitely just maybe they need to track the position of the other opponent DPS just a little bit better.
Youngblood honestly winning out as well thanks to this Moira. McRae, perfect decision making with the Biograss as well as the Bio-Orb. Now gonna be Youngblood going on in, but Legend might looking for a quick little boop or two on the side of Pointbreak. We have a quick little amp up as well, and Sachok gets rid of Haruto. So Nolusho in the fight, they boop onto the Zarya, the charge rather going into the Zarya, booped up by Legend. Pointbreak playing in the corners. They're a lot more safe because the opposing team doesn't have a Lucio, but the HNK with the Shatter gets rid of one. It's gonna be Lil Rax falling. Sachok and HNK dueling. Song comes back in with the Doomfist. Pointbreak keeping the fight, launching up into the air. Song now an orbital strike, awaiting Meteor there, connecting onto Calvin as well as Haruto for the time being. Pointbreak into control, and McRae, it's gonna be Infamous rather with the Coalescence, and for now Pointbreak will get this point.
I'm gonna be a bit biased here, Daks, and I'm gonna complain. Hey Chenke, you gotta play the Hammond, my friend. When you play the Hammond, you won your map, so why don't you play the Hammond right here? But of course, enough of the bias. We're back to the to the compositional choices both teams are looking to run. Youngblood with the Goats Comp against Pointbreak with a similar Goats Comp, except that Sok, instead of playing the Diva, he chooses to go for the Doomfist instead.
Graviton Surge right now in the classic spawn point, but it's gonna be a Graviton from On as well. Self-destruct though coming in from the sky. Sound barrier in response, and the self-destruct a little too high to actually get any kills. So the music will keep playing for both squads. HNK with the Shatter once again gets a kill onto Lorax, but Sasha holding that hammer strong finally gets taken down. The Doof is going for the punch, but Sog lands on HNK instead. They do get the takedown onto the Reinhardt, but this is gonna be Youngblood swooping on in. Look at Calvin just dash in with so little HP, but so much support in his name. Legend now being staggered. This Lucio trying to do as much damage as he can, but for now, Legend finally dies.
So this is going to be really bad for Pointbreak, because Legend died so late in the game, and that's going to be a free 10-20% for the side of Youngblood. So this is why staggering is one of the most major mistake a team can commit. But of course, being a Lucio, he will be able to get back to the fight in a reasonably fast pace. So a clash between two goats is going to happen right now. Coalescence getting a butt, gets shattered. And McRae, Coalescence will get interrupted by the Shadow, gets charged by HNK, and Sok will go down.
Sachok not wanting to be out of this yet, putting his team on his back. Huge shatter there from the Reinhardt. This is going to be a capture here after the kill there onto Haruto. And just watch this again. McRae going for the Coalescence, but they get the stun out onto HNK from the Brigitte of Lil Rax, and Sachok just cleaving on in Battle Fury and all. Pointbreak getting the flip back on the point, and now they're going for the spawn cap. They need Night Market, they need the deals here, they need that extra satay, and we have a Graviton Surge now coming on in, as well as the twin The self-destruct rather, Soundfire being popped up, Lil Rax and Sturban going for the rallies as well, but it's now Youngblood. Oh, we have a pause. We are gonna get back into the fight immediately. Lil Rax gained the whip shot, but it's gonna be Pointbreak at a small little disadvantage this time as Youngblood has rotated on in. Sturban now with the shield bash kill onto Song2H, and Sturban takes down 2 so far. It's gonna be a kill onto the counterpart. Youngblood getting the point back. Sachok too late to get onto the point, and this is gonna be the Thai squad moving on in. A quick little bring a little present there rather from Sachok. Look at that, H&K going for the charge onto the wall instead. Pointbreak so far do get beaten down, but honestly I'm just a little amused that Sachok brought home a present that was H&K. They got the kill, and this can be an opportunity for Pointbreak to go for a free shatter. He's gonna go onto the shatter as we were talking about. Gets 2 so far. Counter shatter there from H&K, and Youngblood now proving strong, holding steadfast. Gonna be the universal donor of pain here. Song2H with the kill onto 1. But Youngblood just one more clash away from victory. Can they hold this out, or can Pointbreak force out Control Center?
So like I was saying, when 2 Reinhardt gets the shatter, the Reinhardt that gets the later shatter always wins because your teammates gets up first. Your teammates stop getting stunned because the enemy. The Graviton comes out.
This can be huge! A huge combo here! Gets absolutely nothing. H&K though does get 2, and half of the team of Pointbreak is gone. It's gonna be a breaking point here for the Singaporean squad. Saul gets D-Mech after switching to the Diva, and it looks like Youngblood has done it. Overtime Wicker ticking slowly but surely, and the Thai squad have won the series 3-2. Youngblood, clutch factor and all, winning it out at the end.
Youngblood must be very, very happy with the results. With this win, they will go to 6-2, and with 6-2, they are a lot more safe to be in the playoffs because they have one map of they have one map chance of they can drop one map and still make it to playoffs.
Oh yeah,
look at the differential score.
This is the play. Oh, look at play, but he gets stuck. Aww. Yeah, that was impressive.
They should have
there.
just cut the last part. You know, if they cut the last part, it would have looked a lot cooler.
Well, we know what he's gonna Twitch clip.